Edge Nation, it's your boy Citizen Edge coming through with another banging video. If you're new to my channel, like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you ring that bell to stay updated with the latest and greatest of information. You see the title, you see the thumbnail, so let's get right into it. But hold up. Do you need a holster? Do you have a holster? Need a better holster? Well then get better holsters. That's right, utilize the link in the description below the next time you're in the market for a holster. Also, the next time you're on Amazon, don't forget about your boy. Utilize the promo code below, CitizenEdge-20. That will greatly support the channel. I appreciate everyone. If you're also feeling generous, utilize the CashApp. All proceeds will go toward better gear, books, ammo, range time, you name it, making the platform a lot better for you. Now, let's go and do a weapons check. It's a special night tonight, so this is what I have in store for you. Yep, you saw it on the range the other day. That's right, AR-15, 223 Wild, aptly named Nat Turner. Always, as I say, remain alert, safe.
Life is a maze, life is a face. Life is so full of craze. This life, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Be an ass, drive a wraith, live the mode before you drive away.
So I want to pick up where I left off at the ammo haul video. Please check out that video. Some good information, friendly reminder, but also you'll get an idea of where we left off at, but also the premise. Once again, I'm on chapter 1. Get a good look at this book right here. I was recommended this book. This is definitely a must read. I just started it, and yet I understand the brevity of the situation. Robert F. Williams. So, chapter 1, page 7. Attempt to kill me. Think of this as reading, but without the rainbow. Shout out to LeVar Burton, okay? No disrespect. It is what it is, right? On Friday, June 23rd, 1961, I went into town to make another phone call to the Justice Department. While I was there, I picked up one of the pickets and started back to the line at the swimming pool, which was on the outskirts of town. I was driving down US Highway 74, going east when a heavy car, he was driving a smaller car, came up from behind him and tried to force my lighter car off the embankment. There was a 75-foot drop. I outmaneuvered him by speeding up and getting in front of him. He then rammed my car from the rear and locked the bumper and started a zigzag motion across the highway in an attempt to flip my car over. The bumpers were stuck, and I didn't use the brake because I didn't want to neutralize the front wheels. So basically, someone's trying to run off the road in white supremacists, okay? We had to pass by a highway patrol station. The station was in a 35-mile-per-hour zone, and by the time we passed it, the other car was pushing me at 70 miles an hour. I started to blow my horn, hoping to attract the attention of the highway patrolman. There were 3 patrolmen standing on the opposite side of the embankment. They looked at the man who was pushing and zigzagging me across the highway. Then they threw their hands up and laughed, turned their backs to the highway. He kept pushing me for a quarter of a mile until he came to a highway intersection carrying heavy traffic. The man was hoping to run me out into the traffic, but about 75 feet away from the highway, I was finally able to rock loose from his bumper, and I made a sharp turn into the ditch. My car was damaged. The brake drum, the wheels, the bearings had been damaged, and all the trunk compartment in the rear had been banged in. After we got out the ditch, I took the car back to the swimming pool and showed it to the police chief. He stood up and looked at the car and laughed. He said, "I don't see anything. I don't see anything at all." I said, "You were standing there when I left." He said, "Well, I don't see anything." So I told him I wanted a warrant for the man, whom I recognized. His name was Bynum Griffith, the Pontiac Chevrolet dealer in Monroe. That's in North Carolina. He said, "I can't give you a warrant because I can't see anything that he's done." But a newspaperman standing there started to examine my car. And when the chief of police discovered that a newspaperman was interested, then he said, "Well, come to the police station. I'll give you a warrant." When I went to the police station, he said, "Well, you just got a name and a license number, and I can't indict a man on that. You can take it up to the court solicitor." So I went up to the court solicitor, which is equivalent to the district attorney. And he said, "Well, all you got here is a name and a number on a piece of paper. I can't indict a man on these grounds." I told him that I recognized the man and mentioned his name. All he said was, "Wait a minute." And he made a telephone call. He said, I called him, and he said he didn't do that. I again told him that I recognized the man and that I had a license number of the car that he used. Finally, the court solicitor, also known as the district attorney, he said, "Well, if you insist, I'll tell you what you do. You go to his house, take a look at him, and if you recognize him, you bring him up here and I'll make out a warrant for him." I told him that was what the police was being paid for. They were supposed to go and pick up criminals, so they refused to give me a warrant for this man. The next section. Can't say it, but see that in bold print? That's the next section we're on. The picket line continued. On Sunday, on our way to the swimming pool, we had to pass through the same intersection. There were about 2,000 or 3,000 people lined up along the highway. 2 or 3 policemen were standing at the intersection directing traffic, and there were 2 policemen who had been following us from home. An old stock car without windows was parked by a restaurant at that intersection. As soon as we drew near, this car started backing up as fast as possible. The driver hoped to hit us in the side and flip us over, but I turned my wheel sharply and the junk car struck the front of my car and both cars went into a ditch. Then the crowd started screaming. They said that an N-word had hit the white woman. They were referring to me. They were screaming, "Kill the ends, kill the ends, pour gasoline on those, burn those." We were still sitting in the car. The man who was driving the stock car got out of the car with a baseball bat and started walking toward us saying, "N. What did you hit me for?" I didn't say anything to him. We just sat there looking at him. He came up close to our car, within an arm's length, but I still didn't say anything. What they didn't know is that we were armed. Under North Carolina law, it is legal to carry firearms in your automobile so long as these firearms were not concealed. I had 2 pistols and a rifle in the car. When this fellow started to draw back his baseball bat, I put an Army .45 caliber up in the window of the car and pointed it right into his face and didn't say a word. He looked at the pistol and he didn't say anything. He started backing away from the car. Somebody in the crowd fired a pistol and the people again started to scream hysterically, "Kill those, pour gasoline on them." Those N-words. The mob started to throw stones on top of my car. So I opened the door of the car and put one foot on the ground and stood up in the door holding an Italian carbine. All this time, 3 policemen had been standing about 50 feet away from us. We kept waiting in the car for them to come and rescue us. Then they saw that we were armed and the mob couldn't take us. 2 of the policemen started running. One ran straight to me, grabbed me on the shoulder and said, "Surrender your weapon, surrender your weapon." I struck him in the face and knocked him back from the car and put my carbine right in his face. And I told him we were not going to surrender to a mob. I told him that we didn't intend to be lynched. The other policemen who had run around the side of the car started to draw the revolver out of their holster. He was hoping to shoot me in the back. They didn't know that we had more than one gun. One of the students, who was 17 years old, put a .45 caliber in the policeman's face and told him that if he pulled out his pistol, he would kill him. The policeman started putting his gun back into the holster and backing away from the car. He fell into the ditch. there was a very old man, an old white man, out in the crowd. He started screaming and crying like a baby, and he kept crying and said, God damn, what is this goddamn country coming to that N-words have got guns? These N-words are armed. The police can't even arrest them. He kept crying and somebody led him away through the crowd. All right, I didn't want to read too much, but it just shows you got to be ready no matter what. They pleaded. They did their best. They went through the proper protocols. They went through local law enforcement. They went through the proper channels to hopefully have this matter addressed through the system. They were utterly disrespected, said least. And they were put in this position, even though they're practicing their First Amendment rights to free speech. However, when Plan A didn't work, Plan B was right there for them. When the First Amendment wasn't getting the job done, the Second Amendment had their backs. And it shows there, we have to stay alert, safe, and smart. Never underestimate your rights. Never underestimate your rights. Never underestimate your rights. We'll continue this book. I'll try to share little excerpts here and there. So I want to share that with you. But I do implore you, please get this book. Please be sure to utilize those promo codes and that link. It will greatly help out the channel a lot. Thanks, everybody. In the meantime, Edge Nation,
for your driver
it's your boy, Citizen Edge.
Never stray
I'm
away.
out.
Keep up, before I fly away. Echoes as you fade away.